Look tonight, James Creedon, hello. We're going to have a look tonight at the French journalists who got a ticking off.
That's right, they were at the White House getting quite excited about the ceremony, of course. And there were a couple of journalists who decided, as is the habit of many people with a smartphone nowadays, to take a selfie.
The habit of the American president himself not so long ago, after all.
Exactly. So let's take a look at one in particular. This is Thomas Wieder for Le Monde. He took this photo on, I believe it's the South Lawn. Another photo here inside in the press room. And he was getting a bit carried away with himself, Melissa, when he took this photo. You can see a security staff member trying to call him into order there in the middle of the photo. You can also see another journalist for France 2 taking another selfie, and of course the two men in the background, Hollande and Obama. It looks a little bit undignified, as some commentators were saying they were like teenagers on a school trip or on a kind of a cultural outing.
That is exactly what they look like, actually.
He just looks really enthusiastic. Now, he wasn't the only one. There were several others who got caught on that podium. And I quite like this this photo here. These are other journalists for Le Monde who took a selfie solidaire. A selfie in solidarity, stuck back in the newsroom in Paris, a little bit less exciting. Now, some perhaps took the criticism a little bit too far. Daniel Schneiderman for Arrêt sur Image said it's like la quenelle du bureau ovale. Now, the quenelle is that infamous hand gesture by the controversial comedian Dieudonné, an anti-system, perhaps even anti-Semitic hand gesture. What he's saying here is this is sort of the pro-system gesture, the quenelle of the pro-system. In other words, they're at the White House. Instead of asking the pertinent questions, they're just taking selfies. They're being patsies for the system, Melissa. According to David Schneiderman, I don't necessarily agree. And as you pointed out earlier, even Obama has been guilty of the odd selfie.
Right, it is the fashion after all. James, next we're going to look back at that state dinner that was held last night. Much was made about who would be sitting next to François Hollande, given his new single status. In the end, he was placed between the president and the First Lady. But much has been made since of the person who was next to the First Lady.
Stephen Colbert. Now, despite the sort of French-sounding name, and he pronounces his show on Comedy Central as the Colbert Report, he has no link at all to France whatsoever. He has no French ancestry, nothing. So it's all a bit of stylism. In any case, it is a curious choice, seeing as earlier in January, during the whole scandal surrounding François Hollande's separation from Valérie Trierweiler, he put together a sketch that was quite scathing. Let's have a look.
With the recent behavior of their president, François Hollande, has sacre blown my mind. So tonight, he is my alpha dog of the week. Napoleon Bonaparte's did not stop there. Apparently, the First Lady of France is just the last person the president slept with. And remember, folks, Hollande looks like he should be ringing bells at Notre Dame.
It's pretty irreverent stuff.
It's amazing. And they selected this, of all men, to sit second next to François Hollande. I'm pretty sure they had to laugh about it. He didn't have much of a choice. But he might have been a little offended by some of those remarks. So
let's hope he hadn't seen. Next, moving on to Scarlett Johansson, who's to be honoured later this month at the French equivalent of the Oscars, the César.
That's right. And a lot of people saying that she's very young. She's only 28 years of age to be getting an honorary César award, especially given the fact that she's been somewhat critical of her adopted home of Paris. Let's take a look at an interview she gave to David Letterman on CBS earlier in January.
You know, I mean, of course, when I first got there, I thought that people were not, that the whole kind of rude Parisian thing was just like, people aren't rude, they're wonderful.
Yes.
That was before I was a mainstay there, and then people decided that once I wasn't going away, they could just be really terribly rude to me. And I started getting really aggressive with people now.
Good for you.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
She's just settling in, Melissa.
It takes time.
Right. In any case, some people saying, well, it's usually an award given to people towards the end of their career, even posthumously on occasion. So is it a little bit a case of the César trying to get a bit of glitz and glamour and up the viewing figures on Canal+? Possibly. In any case, on the Nouvelle Observateur website, 62% of people think she doesn't really deserve a César d'honneur just yet. In any case, she's going to get one. So
she's getting one in any case. Thank you very much indeed, James Creedon, for a look there at Media Watch. 51 minutes past